Let's hand out some grades for the Chicago Bulls on their off season. So what is going on, y'all? Faiz Sports all back at it with another video talking some NBA. Here to talk about the Chicago Bulls and here to discuss their off season, man, which has for the most part been wrapped up. We still got the Zach and Vooch trade that's probably coming up, but we'll see. But I got grades for you guys. So if you guys are new to the channel, welcome. Make sure to hit that subscribe button down below if you're a Bulls fan. A lot of Bulls coverage on the channel. I promise you that. So with that being said, let's get into it. So we'll start with the moves that the Bulls have made, and I'm going to grade every move. And at the end, I'm going to give you guys an overall grade for the Bulls offseason. So the first move we got to talk about is, of course, trading Alex Caruso for Josh Giddey. So this move to me gets a B-. Now, I have warmed up to Josh Giddey. At the time of this trade, I was not a big fan because Josh Giddey regressed from his last season to this previous one. He was not the same player. In fact, he was unplayable in the playoffs. So anytime you're trading for a player that becomes unplayable when the games really matter, that's not a good sign. But you have to have context, which is Josh Giddey for Oklahoma City and the way they're headed, he's just not a good fit anymore. He needs the ball in his hands, and you're not going to get the ball in your hands when you've got SGA on your team. So it kind of does make sense why he wasn't a good fit. Now, look, he's got things to improve on. He needs to be a much better shooter. But you see the skill set. A big 6'8" point guard that can obviously distribute, that can rebound, that can push the pace. That is valuable. And so, to me, I've warmed up on it because I saw Josh Giddey play well in the Olympics. I can see the fit. He does fit a need, and he's young, so he can get better. And Alex Caruso is the guy you needed to trade. You should have traded him the previous trade deadline. You should have traded him when you had 2 first-round picks offered allegedly for him. And so that's why the grade is not that high, because you had ample amount of opportunities. The reason I didn't like the trade also is because we didn't get any picks in the trade. But hey, Josh Giddey is a guy who, of course, is young and he can get better. So overall, that gets a B- from me. All right, let's move on to the next trade. We had the DeMar DeRozan trade, in which we got Chris Duarte and 2 second-round picks back. To me, that is a C. All right, letter grade is a C for that. DeMar DeRozan should have been traded before this. You almost lost him for nothing, so you could have walked for nothing. That would have given you the F, so that's why I'm giving them a C. Maybe it should be a C-, but point is, DeMar also should have been traded earlier, just like Caruso should have been, so you lost equity there that you could have gotten. The reason why this grade isn't as bad is, again, 1, they did get something back for him, but 2, is because this trade did sort of kickstart the rebuild, which I am so thankful for. When they finally traded DeMar DeRozan, that meant that they're going in a different direction. And so it took that trade for it to happen, so that's why I got to bump it up a little bit, and I'm happy about that. But we're talking about Chris Duarte and 2 second-round picks. I mean, let's be honest, folks. The 2 second-round picks, that should help in maybe flipping Zach and Vooch. But really, second-round picks in the NBA don't mean as much. And then Chris Duarte really not going to make much of an impact on the team. He's a good shooter, but, a role player, a lower-tier role player at that. So overall, it's a C for me for the DeMar DeRozan trade. They should have traded him earlier. All right, moving on to the signing of Jalen Smith. So they did sign Jalen Smith in free agency. I'm going to give this one a B+. Jalen Smith is a very underrated player, folks. A lot of people don't know about him. He has been in Indiana as a backup center, and he's a guy who can put up numbers. When he's given the opportunity, his numbers are solid. All right, so to me, he's a guy who can shoot the 3. Obviously, he can score inside. He's a very solid rebounder. And you got it for a fairly solid deal. 3 years, $27 million for $9 million a pop. I'll take that. So he fits a need. 24 years old, young, can build with this core. I'm good with it. So I'm going to give that one a B+ for going ahead and signing Jalen Smith. All right, moving on to the draft and drafting Matas Buzelis with the number 11 overall pick. Folks, I got to give this one an A. Matas looks like an absolute stud. He has been killing it in Summer League. The motor is incredible. The ability that he has to score, to defend, to rebound, to kind of do it all. Like, he is the guy that could pop. And he's the guy that's making me excited to watch Bulls games again. So if Matas Buzelis turns into a star, and believe you me, he's got star potential, this could save the Bulls. So I'm going to give this one an A. The reason it's not an A+ is because the Bulls kind of got lucky that he dropped to 11, because he should have been a top 5, top 10 pick. And honestly, early on in the draft season, he was a number 1 projected pick. So it's kind of crazy we got him at 11, but you got to go ahead and, take what you can get at that point. And kudos to Bulls for snatching him up. Montas Buzelis has a chance to be a star, an absolute star in this league. So I love that pick. So that's an A. So overall, folks, those were the moves that they have made. Now, the last thing I'll talk about is not making the move, which is thus far not trading, at the time I'm recording this, not trading Zach LaVine and Nikola Vucevic. I'm going to give that one a C-. So look, Zach LaVine and Nikola Vucevic both should not be on this roster anymore. We're in a rebuild. But I don't want to give up assets to trade them. Zach LaVine's trade value, to this day, I can't explain why it became that bad where it went completely south. I mean, I can explain it a little bit because of the new CBA and because of the fact that, he's been injury prone. But really, it's only been last season. So it still kind of boggles my mind, right? Because the previous seasons, he played 77 games and 67 games. My point is, you are at a point where Zach's value is 0. Vooch's value is 0. So you can't even trade them as a salary dump. In fact, you have to attach assets. So I'm not doing that. If you got to keep them at the till the trade deadline, so be it. But I'm not giving up a first-round pick. No way. Sorry, I'm just not. And so maybe I'll bump this down to even a C- or D, because it's been that bad with how they've handled this. It's really been that the theme of this entire regime, which is holding on to assets way too long. It's like keeping food in the fridge until it expires. Like, throw it out, sell it before you don't get anything for it. Like, you're getting pennies on the dollar here. It's pathetic. So, you know what? Scratch that. That's a D right there for the Chicago Bulls. So, to me, not a fan of them not being able to move Zach and Vooch. Now, again, this could still happen, but the time right now, they haven't. So, yeah, I'm not happy about that. So overall, taking all those things into account, the Giddey trade, the Caruso, the DeMar trade, drafting Montas, all those into account, I can't give the Bulls anything higher than a C. I'm sorry, it's been average at best, probably below average. Montas Buzelis could literally save the offseason if he turns into a star, but outside of that, it's been very ho-hum and nothing really nothing to write home about. So that's where I'm at with the offseason for the Chicago Bulls. Happy that the rebuild has started, but it should have been the case a while back. But you did potentially get a star in Montas, so we'll see. C is the grade that I'm giving the Chicago Bulls. Let me know if you guys agree or disagree for their offseason. Leave a comment down below with your thoughts. As always, thanks for watching.